Hi, welcome everybody. So I am here today to talk about a distillery in Michigan. I have been doing a little bit of work with Grand Traverse Distilling Company, and today I just kind of wanted to showcase their products and the ones that I really enjoy personally, also the ones that I think are really kind of the most useful in any person's home bartending. So the reason why I would like to showcase and feature this distillery is because it comes from my little hometown of Michigan. I have grown up all over the place, but I did spend the majority of my time in Michigan. So I think that especially now it is really crucial to be just supporting local small farmers, craft distilleries. So I would like this to be the first in a line of local and craft distilleries to support. So since I am from Michigan, I do have quite a few people that I know that follow me from Michigan as well. So know that this is widely available throughout Michigan. I have been working with a woman named Angie, who is the Elixir Fixer. I'm going to look at one of her little gifts that she gave me recently, which is an old-fashioned kit. So I would like to celebrate her. I would like to celebrate Michigan and all of the fine things that they have to offer. So with that being said, this distillery does a variety of spirits. They have a vodka, they have a gin, and then they have a barrel-aged gin, which is the one that I have with me today. And then they do a line of whiskeys. So rye is their grain. It's their ingredient that they work with. That is why they have 100% rye vodka, and they have a really beautiful whiskey, which is their Old George. And this is 100% rye whiskey. So rye grew wild in that area of Michigan, which is in the Traverse City area, so northern Michigan. Right up there by the lakes and all the peninsulas and everything like that. So when the United States was colonized by the white Europeans, they came in and spread rye grain. So it was just something that they used to separate hedges with. This happened all along the eastern coast of the United States. So, and then they had lots of it, an abundance of it. So rye is something that is found in Michigan kind of now, indigenously, natively. So they like to focus on that. Even with their gin, it's a infused from 100% rye grain spirit. So it's all really lovely, a little bit different, and that is why I wanted to talk about it today. So I don't want to think about this as a review because I don't really like that. I wanted to view this kind of more as a discussion, and I'm thinking about doing some live discussion feeds like this on Instagram and perhaps on Facebook as well. So we'll see. I just wanted to kind of get this one out there and see how this one goes on its own. So first, we're going to start out with vodka. So like I said before, this is their 100% rye vodka. I have had this one before. There's a couple of these that I have not, so we will be sharing them together. But with this one, I have had it. I really enjoy this vodka. I think vodka is a spirit that gets very much underlooked. So we think of vodka as, expensive vodkas as Grey Goose and Belvedere and Chopin, and then even within those vodkas, they're made from very different things. They're made from wheat, from rye, they're made from potatoes. I mean, it's really absolutely incredible. So in Michigan, there is another distillery that makes a vodka from grapes. Within these different types of grains that you use, or fruit, but not typically fruit, within these grains that you use to make vodka, you get different textures. You have different aromas, especially if it's not all distilled completely out of it. But even if it is distilled 33 times, there are trace elements left of that grain that are very distinct. So I like the rye a lot. Not to make comparisons, but it reminds me of the 86 Company's Owlsbury Duck Vodka. So it has a viscous mouthfeel. And I get all sorts of really lovely things. I get a lot of like peppercorn, black peppercorn on there, but then I get white flowers, and I get, it does have this very floral characteristic. This particular one does as well. And I like it. So you could drink this on the rocks. I mean, it tastes kind of like summertime to me. It has a very light, sunshine kind of feel to it as well. It's not astringent. It doesn't dry my mouth out. It's actually really nice. It coats your mouth. One thing to do as well and keep note of when you are tasting spirits is to smell. So smelling is almost the most important thing you can do when it comes to tasting, well, anything. So you want to smell with your mouth open, bring the glass as close as you can, close your eyes, and just breathe in normally, nothing crazy. And then when you taste it, you want to make sure you swill it around your entire mouth. So you want to coat your whole mouth. You want to get it underneath your tongue, up into your jaw, around here. When you're first starting to do this, it is weird and it hurts and you think, what am I doing this for? But I'm not drinking it either, so we always want to make sure that we spit it out. Yeah, and then you get a good sense of it. You always want to do it 2 times, so I'll have one more sip of it. It tastes like the color purple to me, and I don't know what that means, but but that's what I get from that. I really like it. So from here, we are going to move on to their gin. So I don't have their regular gin right now. It is delightful. It is a little bit, however, more expensive than what I want to pay for a gin if I'm just going to walk into the store here in Chicago. In Michigan, it's a different story. Here in Chicago, if I'm buying a local gin, I'm probably gonna buy Blonde Brothers. I'm trying to think of who. Oh, CH. Oh, yeah, CH for sure. But then Opinion has the best. Opinion has the best gin here locally made. And I will talk about them as well because they also make really stellar whiskeys. So this barrel-aged gin that they have is absolutely incredible. I mean, barrel-aged gins are really hard. They're hard to sell. They're hard to work with. They got usually a very piney note to it that sometimes is mellowed out by the aging in the wood, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes, like a young whiskey, it becomes more astringent and almost too in your face. This does not do this. This is just absolutely killer. So, it's got a nice little color to it, as you can see. So, has not been aged very long, 3 months. So it's good. It gives it a really nice, it smells like cinnamon and vanilla and cloves just right off the bat, but then you also get a little bit of juniper in there as well. So everybody always talks about gin as being a summer spirit, and I think gin is the most incredible winter spirit. So it has notes of, I mean, it's all the things that we think about, you know, it's pine cones and dried oranges. It's all the preserved things that we have from the summer. So you know, in bitter orange, and then it has some roots and things like that that they'll do in it, and some of it is wild forage, but they all dry it out, so it's always a preserved type of infusion. And this one really does have a lot of those, you know, quote unquote holiday notes to it. There's a lot of orange going on. We have to remember that citrus is in season during the winter months here in Illinois and the Northern Hemisphere. So all of those ingredients that we associate with the summertime are actually really what should be utilized during the winter time. So blood orange, this would be so good with some fresh blood orange. Really, that's it. I would put this with some fresh blood orange juice, and that's all. Maybe a splash of tonic because I like my fizz. Soda water, if we don't want any calories or anything like that. So it's almost peppermint-y. I think this would be a really cool base for an Amaro. Yeah. Really lovely. I have done a couple of cocktails recently, if you look back on some of my Instagram posts with this spirit in particular. So take a look and get some ideas too for yourself. So we are going to move on to their whiskeys now. They have their 100% rye whiskey, then they have this bourbon, and then they have a rye whiskey that is aged in Scotch barrels, so it has some heavy peaty notes to it that is uncommon with anything we would find typically in the United States. Yeah, so to begin with, I actually am going to start with the bourbon. So this I have not had, and I'm very excited about this. So I just received this, and well, I should say not received this. I just picked this up, and I wanted to take a look at it. I really am trying to support and showcase these smaller and local distilleries. I am going to really delve into Chicago ones here very, very soon. I have some close contacts with some cool people that I think I could do some really beautiful write-up stuff with. So we have their 100% straight bourbon whiskey. So, and this is a higher rye bourbon because that's what they focus on. So it is a lower corn mash, which I also enjoy when it comes to bourbon whiskeys. You can really get that kind of raw corn smell on the nose there too, like a corn stalk, if you've ever walked through a corn stalk or a cornfield when it's all dried up. You get a little candy corn on there. I'm not trying to be pretentious when I'm giving you these tasting notes. I'm just really trying to tell you what I'm smelling and what I'm getting. And I could get really in depth with it, but again, I just want you guys to kind of, you know, think about it when you take a drink of something. It's really kind of cool what you can get off of it and what you pick up off of it. And the more you are able to do those types of things, the better you are at eating well. So being able to, you know, take different herbs and spices and mix them together, you know, same thing with making a drink or anything else. There's a lot of cinnamon on that too. It's very similar to what we're picking up off of this, except we're not getting any of that, those light notes. It's all very dark, so dark oranges. I mean, I'm getting some, you know, a lot of earth flavors to this. It really, really reminds me of wet earth, especially from that area, just where the water meets the land and it becomes that saturated earth. It's really lovely. It is a young whiskey, which isn't something I typically love to drink, but this is really nice. You know, you could sip on this easily, but you could make some really beautiful things with this. It would make a really good hot toddy. So we're thinking about some things moving on here into the fall. This would make a really great hot toddy. A little bit of lemon, cloves, honey, definitely. And in Michigan, you can find some really killer local honey too. Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna rinse it out with just a little bit of vodka here to, should have some water, and I forgot to grab some, so you need to always make sure you have some water with you. I prefer sparkling water. I've been really trying to stop drinking so much sparkling water, but I love it. I don't know, I just really do. So, and I like naturally sparkling water. I love mineral water, so it's the best. So we're gonna move on to their 100% rye. This is their Old George, and this is the whiskey that they're known for. So this is their baby. I do love rye whiskey. It is one of my, you know, favorite styles of whiskey. I love Scotch and single malts a lot. See, now even compared to this comes off as a more balanced whiskey. It has some age to it. I can smell it a lot more than I can with this bourbon. I am not positive how long either one of these are aged. I did look into it. I believe that this is a 6-year, the rye is. So, and I think the bourbon is 4 to 6 years is what I would guess. So that's really young for me. A 6-year rye is not bad. This smells more like caramel. I'm getting more of those sweeter notes to it, which is interesting, but I think that's just from it being aged a little bit longer. And now see, that's a really lovely rye. So is what I would like to be able to figure out too is if the rye from different parts of the United States is going to taste differently. So I have a really kind of stellar collection of rye whiskey down here. So maybe here really soon I will do a little comparison of different ryes across the, you know, eastern and northern coast here to find out how differently they do taste from each other. And if terroir is making a difference in any of this. So this is really nice. Again, I think this is an excellent cocktail whiskey. So I would be making old fashions with this every night. Manhattan would be really good with this too, especially if you're gonna use a nice vermouth di Torino. So they have a Queen 9 in it, and it gives it just that little bit more of a bite to it, and that hits that rye whiskey really well too. Yeah, really lovely. All right, so the last one here, we have the Isla. So this is the Isla rye, and like I said before, so this is 100% rye. Is what they do is age it in some peaty Scotch barrels. So you're picking up some of those peat notes. Obviously it's not as much as if it were roasted over peat in the way that they do it in Scotland, but this does give it a little bit of a different quality, different tasting note to it. So it's really light. You know, it's hard for me to pick up on it. I'm gonna put myself a little more. You know, it's good. It's very light. It's very delicate whiskey. Something to sip on for sure. I think it'd be really nice around a fire. For what they're doing, that's really a beautiful product. You're not gonna find people doing things like that locally. So we've got some really beautiful single malt distilleries across the United States, but that's not even what they're trying to do here. They're just trying to add a little bit of character to their rye whiskey. I think it's really nice. Cheers to them for that. So really beautiful little gesture in the whiskey world. So, Grand Traverse Distillery. They have a cherry vodka that sells like mad, where they actually use Michigan Traverse City cherries to infuse into the vodka. And it's beautiful, but it is just not really my thing. So I didn't want to talk about it today necessarily, but I do want to bring it up because it is something that they have, and it's really nice, especially for all those Michigan people out there. So a cherry vodka is something that you can pick up at the store. You can mix it with soda water, you can mix it with lemonade, and it is going to be really lovely and really excellent. And then you're supporting somebody local and, you know, still drinking your fruity little fun drink. I prefer my strong stirred cocktails, so I will be featuring one of these whiskeys in a little bit in a Manhattan as well. So, you know, like I said, I think it's important to support local. I don't think it's important to support local if they're not doing good things. And this distillery is doing some really cool things. I am going to be also moving into focusing on sustainable distilleries, cocktails, zero waste initiatives. I believe that that is the most important issue of our time. So, with that being said, supporting locally always helps in that. These people have been farmers for decades, for generations, and they started distilling some of the grains that they were, you know, using in their agriculture. So all of this is just a really important and good thing and lovely to talk about. So Angie Jackson, who works for them, I have been working with her recently on things, and she also brought me this little gift. So she is the Elixir Fixer, and she has the Elixir House. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, I don't know. Can't see that title too well. But this is an old-fashioned kit. So within here, I've got a little mason jar. I have a satchel of herbs and spices. So within here are all sorts of different great things. So we have cinnamon, we have cardamom, I've got cloves and allspice in there and all sorts of goodies. We have some ginger honey syrup that she makes as well. So both ingredients actually made locally in Michigan. So I know that she gets her honey local, and her ginger root comes from a local Korean farmer. So we have those, and then we have some directions on how to infuse all of the things together to make a really beautiful little old-fashioned kit. So she gives you these lovely directions. This is so cool, I can't even stand it. You know, this kit contains all the botanicals you will need to craft your own bitters: gentian root, ginger root, whole cloves, cardamom pods, star anise, and cinnamon. A few extra items you will need to craft the bitters. So this is how to make bitters for your old fashioned. This is pretty dope. So I wasn't really sure what I was getting into here, and I am very excited about this. So coming up, making old-fashioned bitters with Elixir Fixer's recipe. How exciting is that? I didn't realize that's what I was getting. This is awesome. This is really awesome. Thank you so much, Angie. You've been just an absolute joy and pleasure to have met and get to know over the last few months, considering all of the craziness this world has gone into. So yay, so look for some videos on how to make bitters coming up here soon with all of the beautiful things that Angie gave me. Again, if you are in Michigan, please, you know, seek out your local guys, all of it. Beer, I mean, come on, you don't ever need to be drinking anything other than local beer in Michigan. Some of the best beer in the world as far as I'm concerned, and spirits. So we've got a lot of these breweries that have delved into making spirits as well. So let's check them out. Let's see what they've got to offer. Sometimes you go wrong and sometimes you won't. So thanks for joining me this time, and I look forward to doing some more tastings with everybody. And like I said, I think I'm gonna try to do some live stuff coming up here, so maybe we can have a little more conversation being had. So cheers, and have a great day, everyone.